On the outskirts of a small, sleepy town, where golden fields danced with the wind and whispering woods told age-old tales, lived old Ben and his loyal dog, Rusty. Ben, a man in his twilight years, carried the wrinkles of countless stories upon his face. His days of adventure had faded, leaving him with memories and a quiet house. But Rusty, his golden retriever with wise, gentle eyes, had been his steadfast companion for more than a decade. Each morning, Ben would sit on the creaky porch, a mug of tea in hand, watching the sun rise over the fields. Rusty would sit loyally beside him, head resting on Ben's knee, his tail softly wagging in tune with the wind. To outsiders, they were a quiet pair, but to each other, they were family. Neighbors often brought them food, and children would stop to play with Rusty. Ben didn't speak much, but his eyes would twinkle as he watched the children laugh. Rusty was his joy, his protector, and his last true friend. Though Ben's heart was tired, the bond he shared with Rusty was his anchor to the world. One cool autumn morning, Ben awoke from a dream of waves crashing against cliffs and the sound of seagulls echoing through the sky. It stirred something deep inside, a longing to see the ocean one last time. His youth had been spent by the sea, and though years had passed, the ocean still called to him. Ben stood by the window, staring out at the rising sun, and Rusty, sensing his master's melancholy, nudged his hand, letting out a soft whine as if to say, "Let's go, old friend." With resolve, Ben packed an old canvas bag, just a few essentials, some bread, a blanket, his walking stick, and Rusty's favorite ball. Though his body was frail, his spirit was determined. He couldn't drive anymore, and there was no one left to take him. But Ben knew that if he had Rusty by his side, he could go anywhere. Together, they set out on foot, leaving behind the town's cozy streets. Rusty trotted faithfully beside him, glancing up at Ben with unwavering trust. Fields turned to forests, and forests to winding country roads. They walked during the day and camped under the stars at night. Rusty kept watch, and Ben would whisper old sea tales to the night sky, imagining the crashing waves he longed to see. Their journey was filled with unexpected kindness. A farmer offered them shelter and fresh milk. In a village, an elderly woman mended Ben's worn shoes and gave Rusty a patchwork blanket. Travelers they met by the roadside shared their campfires and food, listening to Ben's stories of days gone by, of ships, storms, and faraway lands. Rusty became a favorite among the strangers, his gentle nature and protective stance winning hearts wherever they went. Children would gather to pet him, and Rusty would respond with patient eyes and soft licks. Yet, through it all, Rusty never strayed far from Ben's side, always watching, always caring. Each morning, as Ben's body grew more tired, Rusty would nuzzle him awake, encouraging him to keep going. Though the road was hard, every step was worth it for that one last glimpse of the sea. Weeks passed, and finally, as dawn broke one morning, the smell of salt filled the air. From atop a cliff, they could see the endless blue stretching far beyond the horizon. Tears welled in Ben's eyes as he took in the vast, rolling waves and the cries of seabirds above. Rusty barked excitedly, sensing Ben's joy. They made their way down to the beach, where the sand was cool and soft. Ben sank onto the sand, Rusty lying beside him, as they watched the waves roll in and out. It was everything Ben had dreamed of, more beautiful than memory could hold. As the sun set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Ben whispered, "We made it, Rusty." That night, under the shimmering stars, Ben leaned against Rusty, who pressed close to keep him warm. Ben's breathing was slow but peaceful, and his hand rested gently on Rusty's head. As waves sang their lullaby, Ben closed his eyes, a smile on his lips, and drifted into eternal sleep. Rusty, sensing something had changed, let out a soft whimper, laying his head on Ben's chest. He stayed there all night, loyal to the end. When dawn broke, a kind fisherman walking along the shore found them. Realizing what had happened, he gently carried Ben and Rusty to his cottage. Word spread through nearby villages, and people came to pay respects. Ben was given a resting place overlooking the sea, where waves would always whisper to him. Rusty stayed by the grave, watching the horizon, refusing to leave. People brought him food and water, and some tried to coax him away, but Rusty waited, guarding Ben's memory. As weeks turned to months, Rusty became a symbol of loyalty and love in the nearby town. Children would visit him, and villagers would sit with him, telling stories of Ben. Rusty's story was told far and wide, reminding everyone of the unbreakable bond between a man and his dog, perhaps beyond the sea. In a place where pain and age no longer exist, Ben and Rusty now walk together again, side by side, as they had always been.